Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. Wei Zhongxian, one of the most famous eunuchs of the late Ming Dynasty, is known to posterity by the title Jiu Qian Sui, 9,000 years. His name has almost become a symbol of eunuch dominance during this period, even surpassing many civil officials and nobles in power and influence. Wei's rise to such a high position in the court was due not only to his cunning and skills but also to the unique historical context and personal connections he leveraged. However, despite his overwhelming power, Wei quickly fell from grace after the ascension of the 16-year-old Emperor Chongzhen. According to historians, Wei Zhongxian was originally named Li Jinzong, a eunuch during the late Ming Dynasty. He is often mentioned alongside other prominent eunuchs like Guangxu, Wang Zhi, and Lu Jin. Coming from a poor background and having been illiterate, he nevertheless mastered archery and horsemanship, enjoying gambling and indulgence in wine and women before entering the palace as a eunuch. Once in the court, his greatest skill became ingratiating himself with those around him. This seemingly humble tactic proved to be an extremely practical skill in the complex and intrigue-filled environment of the palace. Although his identity as a eunuch limited his direct sources of power, he gradually gained recognition through flattery. One key figure Wei focused on was the wet nurse of Zhu Youjiao, Qing. Due to her high status in the palace, Wei cultivated a close relationship with her, eventually getting closer to Emperor Zhu Youjiao. In that context, the young emperor lacked parental affection, making his wet nurse and the eunuchs his closest confidants. After Zhu Youjiao became emperor, Wei quickly gained the emperor's trust through his connection with Qing, gradually consolidating significant power in the court. Zhu Youjiao, known historically as the Carpenter Emperor, was not particularly concerned with governing, instead becoming enamored with craftsmanship and inventions. Consequently, the burden of governance largely fell on Wei and his associates. As Wei's power solidified, the eunuch faction flourished, particularly with Zhu Youjiao's tolerance, allowing Wei to become the de facto ruler of the court. Conflicts intensified between the eunuch faction and the Donglin party, another significant force in the court that opposed eunuch dominance and promoted integrity. Donglin members aimed to diminish Wei's influence, but Wei retaliated with accusations and repression while exploiting court resources for personal gain, further expanding his power. In fact, Wei's regime did stabilize the court to some extent. Most Donglin members were from the gentry class in southern Jiangnan, wielding considerable economic influence locally. They advocated for lower tax rates in Jiangnan, a crucial revenue source for the Ming Dynasty. After suppressing the Donglin party, Wei's actions led to a substantial increase in tax revenues, significantly improving the state treasury and providing some relief for the Ming finances, at least in the short term. However, Wei's reign was also marked by severe corruption and embezzlement. His rampant accumulation of wealth sparked widespread discontent within the court, with Donglin members viewing him and his faction as a national plague. Despite this, with Zhu Youjiao's protection, Wei continued to control court politics without consequence. In 1627, Zhu Youjiao passed away due to illness, and the 16-year-old Zhu Yujian ascended the throne as Emperor Chongzhen. Upon taking the throne, the Ming Dynasty faced a period of crises, with frequent conflicts in Liaodong, an empty treasury, and rampant corruption in governance, while Wei's eunuch faction posed the biggest power obstacle that the new emperor needed to resolve. When Chongzhen came to power, Wei's influence was at its peak, but the young emperor did not immediately confront him. After all, Wei's faction was vast, and although Chongzhen had the throne, he lacked the strong personal power to counter the eunuchs. Thus, Chongzhen opted for a cautious approach, temporarily displaying respect and reliance on Wei to stabilize the situation. Meanwhile, Chongzhen secretly contacted Donglin members to build his political strength. Although previously suppressed by Wei, Donglin still had a certain number of supporters within and outside the court, particularly among the gentry class in Jiangnan. Consequently, Chongzhen gradually strengthened his support for the Donglin party, hoping to use this faction to counterbalance Wei. Some historians have commented that while Wei Zhongxian held immense power, his greatest weakness was his lack of control over the military. Throughout history, many powerful officials and eunuchs managed to maintain their positions for long periods by wielding control over the army. However, Wei did not truly command the military forces in the capital, and especially after the ascension of Emperor Chongzhen, his power base gradually came under threat. Moreover, Emperor Chongzhen was not a pleasure-seeking ruler. He realized that to free himself from Wei Zhongxian's control, he needed to seize actual power. To ensure his safety, Emperor Chongzhen was particularly cautious about his food and daily activities in the palace, avoiding potential poisoning by Wei. Historical records indicate that upon his ascension, he refrained from drinking the water sent by Wei Zhongxian and even dined exclusively in the queen's palace to prevent being poisoned. After accumulating sufficient strength, Emperor Chongzhen finally found the opportunity to eliminate Wei Zhongxian. He ordered the Donglin party members to gather evidence against Wei and quickly dismissed him from his position. Although Wei attempted to rally remnants of his power for a comeback, he was ultimately suppressed by the Jinyue, embroidered uniform guard, sent by Emperor Chongzhen. Recognizing the hopelessness of his situation, Wei chose to commit suicide during his exile, thus ending his brief but powerful eunuch career. While Emperor Chongzhen successfully removed Wei Zhongxian, the Ming Dynasty's predicament was not fundamentally resolved. In fact, Wei's downfall only accelerated the decline of the Ming. After the eunuch faction was eliminated, the Donglin party regained control of the court, yet they failed to demonstrate the integrity and efficiency they had promised. Instead, internal factional struggles and the defense of local interests within the Donglin party further weakened the central government's authority. Additionally, ongoing conflicts in Liaodong persisted. And although the renowned general Yuan Chonghuan had achieved significant victories for the Ming, he was wrongfully executed due to Emperor Chongzhen's suspicions. At the same time, the rise of peasant rebels led by figures like Li Zicheng, combined with the gradual depletion of the national treasury, left Emperor Chongzhen in an inescapable predicament. According to historical records, Yuan Chonghuan, born in 1584, was from Dongguan, Guangdong, though some sources suggest other origins such as Teng County or Pingnan in Guangxi. He was a minister and renowned general during the late Ming Dynasty. Yuan came from a merchant family and had a strong interest in military affairs while preparing for the imperial examinations. In the 47th year of the Wanli era, 1619, he passed the imperial examination and began serving as the county magistrate of Shaowu in Fujian. In the second year of the Tianqi era, 1622, he participated in major court strategies, heading to Shanhaiguan to defend against the later Jin and reclaim Liaodong. During this time, he gradually rose through the ranks, becoming the military commissioner of Ningqian and assisting General Sun Chengzong in constructing the Great Wall defense line. In the sixth year of Tianqi, 1626, he successfully repelled an attack from the later Jin leader Nurhasai at Ningyuan, achieving a great victory and being promoted to governor of Liaodong. In the seventh year of Tianqi, 1627, Yuan secured another significant victory at Ningjin. However, due to criticism over his attempts to negotiate peace with the later Jin, he resigned. The following year, Emperor Chongzhen reinstated him as Minister of War and Deputy Chief Minister, overseeing military affairs in areas like Jizhou, Liaodong, Denglai, and Tianjin. Upon his return, Yuan vowed to recover Liaodong in 5 years, and proposed many practical strategies. In the winter of the second year of Chongzhen, 1629, the later Jin, led by Emperor Taiji, launched a massive invasion, bypassing Yuan's defenses in Jizhou and advancing toward Beijing. Although Yuan repelled the later Jin forces at Guangmen and Zuanmen, he was arrested and imprisoned by Emperor Chongzhen. In August of the third year of Chongzhen, 1630, Yuan was executed by Lingqi, death by 1,000 cuts, after being accused of treason. It wasn't until the Qing dynasty compiled the History of the Ming that it was determined that his death was a result of a deception set by Emperor Taiji, leading to a renewed high evaluation of Yuan. Thus, while Emperor Chongzhen successfully eliminated Wei Zhongxian, demonstrating both wisdom and bravery, his wrongful execution of Yuan Chonghuan amounted to self-sabotage. Ultimately, he failed to salvage the fate of the Ming Dynasty. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.